No, no, no. Impossible. With the destruction of the black water domain, the evil sorcerer sat weakly in the void, a look of fear emanating from his heart. Crack! Before the sorcerer could make any move, Xiao did not hold back. With a wave of the demonic cube, the sorcerer was immediately absorbed into it. Under the devouring force of the demonic cube, it was likely that after a long time, all his spiritual intelligence would disappear completely, eventually turning into a trace of primal essence that would be fed back into the demonic cube. So it turns out that Saint Flame and evil power can be specially fused, retaining the properties of both powers and creating an even more terrifying killing move than the Buddha's Curse reincarnation. The Buddha's Curse reincarnation I used before merely compressed the demonic and Saint Flame powers, which suppressed the two powers to an extent, making it somewhat inferior. But this time, instead of compressing them, directly merging the two forces, it seems I still need some time to adjust. In the void, Xiao waved the demonic cube in his hand, and all the remaining evil energy was instantly consumed, leaving the entire hall silent once more. The only sound left was the gentle murmur of a small stream flowing a few meters above the ground. The source of this stream was unknown, but wherever it spread, Xiao felt an immense sense of pleasure and tranquility. Plop. As the evil sorcerer perished, Yao Ling, who had been meditating in the void to recover, seemed to sense something. She suddenly opened her eyes, but only saw Xiao standing by the ancient immortal lotus. At this moment, Xiao, though slightly weakened, was smiling as he gazed at the ancient immortal lotus. Awake? How is your condition? Xiao asked, as although he had eradicated all the evil factors inside her, there could still be unforeseen aftereffects, so it was better to confirm everything. I've fully recovered. Yao Ling shook her head, and her gaze toward Xiao grew peculiar. Even some of the most powerful beings from the upper three heavens couldn't deal with the forces inside her body, yet this person handled it so easily? However, Yao Ling did not know that the evil sorcerer had been born from the fusion of the evil and Saint Flame powers on the ancient immortal lotus. Other methods would naturally be useless. Only someone like Xiao, who had long been in contact with Saint Flame, could understand the intricacies. By the way, where is the evil sorcerer? It seemed she remembered something. Yao Ling rose gently, her beautiful eyes scanning around, but she didn't detect any unusual energy. She looked at Xiao with hesitation. He's dead. Xiao clapped his hands, then looked at the ancient immortal lotus in front of him with a greedy expression. The ancient immortal lotus had 7 petals, surrounded by countless branches and lush leaves. However, Xiao gaze was fixed on the 7th lotus bud at the root of the lotus. There seemed to be some ancient fluctuations gathering and pulsating there. The things inside the ancient immortal lotus can only be consumed by the master of this Saint Flame. Since you helped me, as the Yaopool fairy, I will naturally ensure you're not at a loss. What would you like? Yao Ling regained her graceful, fairy-like posture, looking as elegant as a noble princess as she spoke. Anything? Xiao nodded. The 7 lotus seeds of the ancient immortal lotus were indeed precious, but they were related to the core of Saint Flame techniques. Even if Xiao wanted them, they would ultimately be useless to him. As he spoke, Xiao kept his eyes on Yao Ling, seemingly still undecided on what to ask for. He had already collected all the herbs needed for pill refinement. High-grade pills? He didn't lack any. Do Qi techniques? The Yaopool Wonderland favored women, so they probably weren't suitable for him. Xiao found himself in a dilemma. This guy. Yao Ling noticed Xiao persistent gaze and immediately sensed something was off. Just as she was about to speak, the image of their previous intimate interaction flashed across her mind. Her face flushed red, her heartbeat quickened, and a rosy hue spread across her cheeks, looking like a fiery red agate, incredibly tempting. I can't think of anything for now. Let's go out first. I will use my Saint Flame to nurture the ancient immortal lotus. In a few months, when the 7 lotus seeds are fully formed, you will truly become the master of the Saint Flame. Xiao waved his hand, surrounding the ancient immortal lotus with lily-colored flames that blazed fiercely, distorting the void slightly. Okay. Crack. Yao Ling nodded, her hands clasped together, and she began to weave illusory water waves in the void. Boom, boom, boom. The entire void shattered like a mirror, and a hurried figure emerged, stepping through the broken space. His eyes were filled with worry. Master Xiao, the situation? Yao Zhu, the fairy of Yao Pool, had a smile on her face, but her voice was tense and anxious. Mission accomplished. Xiao Yin nodded indifferently, clasping his hands together and smiling at Yao Zhu. The Yao Zhu immortal envoy, upon hearing this, displayed an expression of disbelief and quickly turned to look at Yao Ling beside her. Yao Ling nodded slightly, lowering her gaze, clearly confirming Xiao Yan's words. On behalf of the entire Jade Pool Wonderland, thank Lord Xiao. Lord Xiao, if you need any heavenly materials or treasures, just say the word. Yao Zhu immortal envoy continued with a smile. Not for now. Xiao Yin shook his head. By the way, I wonder if there are any mysterious places in the Jade Pool Wonderland that can temper soul power? Xiao Yin had almost given up, but seeing Yao Zhu immortal envoy, he couldn't help but ask. At present, his soul power had stagnated in the late stage of essence transformation and couldn't break through. If he couldn't reach the Divine Wanderer stage, even the 9th grade sacred pills and divine pills would be out of reach for refining. A mysterious place that can temper soul power? What is Lord Zhao's soul power? Yao Zhu immortal envoy's eyelids twitched slightly, unable to help but ask. Late stage of essence transformation. Xiao Yin didn't hide anything. His spiritual palace stirred, and he unleashed his soul power. Since there was a need, it was only right to be open and honest. 6th level of the spiritual palace. So it is the late stage of essence transformation? At this moment, it was Yao Zhu immortal envoy's turn to be surprised. Even for someone as powerful as her soul power had only reached the early stage of the void realm, and that was with the help of countless heavenly materials and treasures. Cultivating soul power was extremely difficult, with no clear path. But if one could reach its peak, it would surely place them among the top in the great thousand worlds. I'm afraid I'll disappoint Lord Xiao. There is no such place in the Jade Pool Wonderland. After thinking for a moment, Yao Zhu immortal envoy could only shake her head regretfully. Since that's the case, I won't disturb you any longer. The alchemy conference is soon, so I'll take my leave. Xiao Yin raised his hand, signaling that he was about to leave. Yao Ling, see Lord Xiao off. The three of them finished speaking, and Yao Zhu immortal envoy left, leaving only Xiao Yin and Yao Ling behind. Xiao Yin, do you really need to find a place to temper your soul power? Within the Jade Pool Wonderland, the two walked quietly. The creek flowed gently on the water's surface, mist rising, creating an ethereal and dreamy atmosphere. However, Yao Ling suddenly stopped, her expression slightly serious as she looked at Xiao Yin and spoke earnestly. Xiao Yin had just asked casually, thinking that with Yao Zhu immortal envoy status and experience, she might know some secrets about places that could help with soul power cultivation. But in the end, it turned out to be in vain. You know? After a moment, seeing Yao Ling's serious expression, Xiao Yin suddenly asked. This girl was saying something between the lines. Yao Ling's large eyes darted around, seemingly checking for any presence. After scanning, she didn't spot anyone suspicious and immediately lowered her voice, speaking quietly to Xiao Yin. In our Jade Pool Wonderland, the most mysterious place is the Tianshui scattered throughout the Jade Pool region. Tianshui? Upon hearing this new term, Xiao Yin listened with great interest. After all, the clear streams surrounding the Jade Pool region, though weak in aura, contained some secrets that could be sensed with careful attention. Therefore, Xiao Yin was certain that the Tianshui in the Jade Pool Wonderland was much stronger than ordinary water. Jade Pool, Heavenly Pool. Yao Ling only spoke these 4 words, but her entire demeanor tightened, as if mentioning a forbidden term. Her expression turned unusually anxious and cautious. I will send you into the Jade Pool, Heavenly Pool. Once your cultivation has progressed enough, break this Tianshui stone, and I will come to guide you, taking you to the alchemy hall. Yao Ling spoke softly, clearly planning to do something against the rules of the Jade Pool Wonderland. The Jade Pool Heavenly Pool was of utmost importance to the Jade Pool Wonderland. It was the source of their power, and only the Holy Maiden of the Jade Pool and talents like Yao Ling, who had been chosen as the next Holy Maiden, could enter. Even Yao Zhu, Immortal Envoy, didn't have the qualifications. This revealed the immense significance of the Jade Pool Heavenly Pool to the Jade Pool Wonderland. By the way, time flows extremely slowly within the Jade Pool Heavenly Pool, so you need not worry about missing the alchemy conference. Yao Ling's large eyes sparkled as she quickly explained. Thank you. At this moment, Xiaoyan couldn't help but develop a great liking for this girl. Prepare yourself. I can only help you enter the Jade Pool Heavenly Pool. Whether you gain any opportunities there depends on your own fortune. Yao Ling finished speaking, and suddenly, a greenish-blue immortal lotus appeared faintly on her chest. The moment it emerged, a long-sealed, ancient aura rushed forth. This thing must have been given to her by the Jade Pool Holy Maiden. Xiaoyan was a bit surprised, but didn't linger too long. He took a step forward and quietly waited in front of her. Immortal Lotus, show the way. A soft, ethereal voice swept through the air, and in an instant, the Immortal Lotus enveloped Xiaoyan's body. The void slightly closed, and they were pulled toward a distant part of the void. Xiaoyan, the Heavenly Pool of the Jade Pool is a place only accessible once the Holy Maiden of the Jade Pool reaches the highest of positions. You've done me such a great favor this time. I must thank you properly. Well then, we're even. I don't like owing favors to others. Next time we meet, I won't show any mercy. I'll defeat you head-on. As her voice trailed off, Yao Ling gently patted the dust from her long gown, returning to her usual graceful demeanor as she slowly walked through the Jade Pool Palace. Without the hindrance and dangers of evil forces, with the foundation of the Jade Pool Wonderland and Yao Ling's cultivation talent, even the third or fourth level of the reincarnation stage likely wouldn't stop her progress. Xun'er, a familiar face has arrived at the Jade Pool's Heavenly Pool. You need to go and take care of things. Not long after, a deep voice echoed in Yao Ling's mind. Huh. Hearing the soul transmission from Yao Zhu, Yao Ling couldn't help but feel a pang of dread and let out a soft exclamation. Has it been discovered? But entering the Jade Pool's Heavenly Pool is my secret. It's the power of the ancient, immortal lotus and sacred flame guiding me. How could it have been discovered? Yao Ling's body trembled as she stood in place, silent for a long while, her expression full of worry as she thought of a solution. Given Yao Zhu's stubborn devotion to the rules of the Jade Pool Wonderland, if Xiaoyan's entry into the Heavenly Pool was discovered, it could lead to a deadly consequence. Xun'er, why are you still frozen there? I've heard that the one who's arrived is the Moon Goddess of the Moon God Palace. She'll be someone of equal standing to you in the future. Both of you are women. Perhaps you could exchange some insights. With those words, the deep voice fell silent. Ah, I see. Hearing the mention of the Moon God Palace, Yao Ling's heart finally calmed. She patted her chest and then headed toward the Jade Pool Palace's exit. Since the Heavenly Pool is so vast, they probably won't run into each other. I'll just wait outside. Boom, boom. As the green flame shield created by Yao Ling enveloped Xiaoyan, he suddenly felt the world spin, and the surrounding spiritual energy surged wildly. Whoosh! Feathers, as white as snow, floated around Xiaoyan, drifting gently before his eyes. What power is this? The intense white aura stabbed at Xiaoyan's mind, and before he could open his eyes, he felt an incredibly soft sensation surrounding him. The cry of a crane? So, this is the Heavenly Pool of the Jade Pool? In the vast white world, torrents of water surged, endless and unyielding. At the center, countless immortal cranes and beasts roamed freely. The entire Heavenly Pool was surrounded by 16 towering peaks, with a large sunken basin at the center forming the pool. Only one mountain had a stream trickling down its slopes. The stream cascaded down from tens of thousands of feet, falling as a breathtaking white waterfall, stunning in its beauty. The Heavenly Pool itself, like a vast mirror, nestled between the peaks, with solitary snow-capped mountains and drifting white clouds reflecting on the surface, creating an ethereal and mysterious painting that seemed to record some chaotic wave. The immortal beasts roamed without a care, completely unaffected by the thundering waterfall, their presence bringing a sense of peace and serenity. Glub. Xiao felt a moment of confusion in his mind. Looking up at the vast waterfall and the 16 peaks that seemed to stretch beyond his sight, a deep calm spread over him. It seemed that the heavenly pool of the Jade Pool, so sacred and beautiful, made every description of poison seem pale in comparison. The heavenly pool is like a dream, almost like a fairyland. It's said that the first holy maiden of the Jade Pool attained enlightenment here. The heavenly pool of the Jade Pool truly lives up to its name. After a moment, a faint smile appeared at the corner of Xiao's mouth. As the waters in the pool stirred, the 6 layers of his spirit palace began to shift ever so slightly. It was as if the waters held a mysterious, irresistible allure. Glub, glub. Bubbles appeared at the bottom of the pool, gently rising to the surface and bursting, releasing a burst of incredibly pure power. Thump. Xiao's entire body submerged into the pool. The almost transparent water slowly seeped into his skin. The cold sensation sent chills down his spine, and his body involuntarily shuddered. Meanwhile, pure energy, akin to the ancient aura of the world's creation, flowed into his body through his breath. At the same time, after a long period of stillness, the soul energy of his spirit palace, which had been dormant, started to stir faintly. Thump, thump. With his body fully immersed in the heavenly pool, Xiao began to feel the ancient energy of the pool's depths. In an instant, he felt a great sense of peace and serenity. Countless profound bubbles suddenly surged from the bottom of the pool, only to explode violently moments later. Within each explosion contained streams of pure energy that flowed into Xiao's body, absorbed effortlessly into his spirit palace. Xiao's spirit palace, constructed initially as a 10-layer formation approaching the limits of the heavens and earth, possessed boundless potential. However, each breakthrough required an enormous amount of energy. Now, the 6 layers of his spirit palace surged like overlapping mountain ranges, flowing together. Soul power gently spilled out, nourishing Xiao's body in an indescribable delight. After a moment, a resplendent little cauldron of flames began to quietly materialize before Xiao's chest. As soon as the cauldron appeared, waves of energy rippled from the 16 peaks and the heavenly pool. At this time, Xiao, fully immersed in cultivating his soul power, didn't notice that on the main peak of the 16 mountains, mist swirled around and waterfalls cascaded down. Behind the waterfalls, however, rays of bright moonlight emerged, exuding an ancient and mysterious aura. "Gather for me." Xiao slowly opened his eyes and softly called out. Pure, transparent white mist began to be drawn in from the heavenly pool, shining like tiny fireflies. Yet, under the cauldron's pull, it transformed into a glowing orb, roughly the size of a fist, floating before Xiao. The orb hovered peacefully, its soft, pure energy calming the world. As the power of the orb spread, the divine beasts resting in the heavenly pool cheered in delight. These divine beasts seemed to be energy entities formed by the accumulation of the heavenly pool's water. Then, they must be the best medicine to refine soul power? Moments later, the cauldron's suction grew stronger, gently drawing these divine beasts toward it. Time passed, and one by one, the bodies of the divine beasts quietly shattered, transforming into a pure energy Xiao had never seen before. This energy was absorbed into the glowing orb. After about an hour, Xiao stared at the orb, his eyes filled with a burning intensity. He reached out his hand slowly. Plop! As his palm made contact with the orb, Xiao's spirit palace trembled violently, and he could clearly feel the immense power radiating from the orb. That power may not have been pure soul energy, but it held an irresistible attraction to his soul. With these precious herbs I gathered from the Jade Pool Wonderland, I wonder if I can break through to the Divine Wanderer realm. Xiao smiled faintly and began to refine the herbs. Within minutes, they were completely dissolved, forming a pool of fragrant green liquid that quietly circled around him. I hope this doesn't disappoint me. Fully prepared, Xiao Yin opened his mouth slightly, and a glaze-colored flame gently emerged, wrapping around the two energy orbs before him. Second level of the flame mantra, burn the soul. Heaven is the way, earth is the law, the spirit leads, and the body follows. Burn the soul to reach the endless spiritual realm. As Xiao Yan's six-layer spirit palace began to tremble violently, slowly filling toward the seventh layer, an ancient voice echoed once again in his mind. Whir! A powerful dizziness overcame him, but Xiao Yan closed his eyes and focused, trying to discern the process of burning the soul. Xiao Yan's skin, covered in countless layers of glaze-like light, shimmered as his body underwent purification through the sacred flames burning. Then, under the fusion of the soul orb and the herbs, strange forces were once again injected into his body. As the forces flowed in, crystalline layers bizarrely appeared on Xiao Yan's skin, as if containing some ancient vibrations, chaotic and bewildering. Burn! Xiao Yan gritted his teeth, and the glaze-colored sacred flame surged out, gently beginning to burn his spirit palace. To burn the soul, the most fundamental target was the spirit palace itself. According to the voice's guidance, if Xiao Yan wished to completely burn his soul, only the spirit palace would suffice. But with the power of the sacred flame, if it surged uncontrollably into the spirit palace, it might easily burn the palace to the ground. Feeling the immense power within the crystalline layers on his skin, along with a trace of chaotic force Xiao Yan couldn't resist, he gritted his teeth and began to burn his spirit palace. Burning the spirit palace was, in essence, the same as destroying it. As the sacred flame surged in, the 10 layers of the spirit palace collapsed like fallen mountains, and streams of soul power were easily ignited. The excruciating pain spread from Xiao Yan's nerves. I refuse to believe that I, the heir of the Xiao clan, will be defeated here. Flame mantra, activate. First level, burn the foundation. Xiao Yan's eyes reddened, his roar resembling that of a wild beast losing all reason. The spirit palace collapsed, and Xiao Yan's aura became weak. A mouthful of fresh blood sprayed out, and endless fear flooded his heart. If his guess was wrong this time, and the spirit palace collapsed, he would never be able to refine pills again. Without the support of soul power, Xiao Yan was no different from a useless person, and a wave of fear surged within him. Boom! As the spirit palace collapsed, the strange crystalline layers attached to Xiao Yan's skin and pores erupted in a dazzling glow, resonating with the burning decision within Xiao Yan's body. Crash! In the empty soul sea, countless strange crystalline layers surged in, making a crisp sound like water splashing on the surface of the water. As soon as the crystalline layers entered the soul sea, the little flame cauldron began to spin and obscure. Mysterious symbols silently fell, then guided the soul essence into the soul sea, once again reconstructing the spirit palace. As more and more soul essence was infused, Xiao Yan seemed somewhat intoxicated. 1 minute later, the spirit palace regained its original appearance, but this time, there was a faint yellow aura all over its surface. That aura made Xiao Yan feel small and insignificant. It was chaos. Crash! The scene that had been full of suspense passed, and the burning decision began to activate. After the spirit palace's 6th level regained its original form, a powerful soul force suddenly erupted from the path of the burning decision, rapidly infusing into the spirit palace. In no time, the 7th level of the spirit palace was actually ignited. Waves of mysterious, intangible fluctuations spread from Xiao Yan's center. The vast and enormous soul power rippled through the entire heavenly pool, suppressing all the aura in the world of the heavenly pool. Some remaining immortal beast figures saw this and quietly hid on the surface of the pool. Looking at the terrifying power surrounding Xiao Yan, they dared not make a single sound. The second stage of burning decision, burning the soul, was complete. The 7th level of the spirit palace was filled. Although it was just filled, it symbolized a half-step into divine wanderer. 1 day, 10 days, 100 days. Time passed quickly. Xiao Yan didn't know how long it had been, but the only clear thing was that the soul power within his body was steadily increasing. On the surface of the heavenly pool, Xiao Yan sat quietly, protected by a glaze-colored flame and surrounded by circles of strange yellow power. The yellow power belonged to chaos. Although Xiao didn't know why the most mysterious force from the Great Thousand Worlds would exist in the Jade Pool's heavenly pool, these chaos particles were too weak for him to absorb. Although he regretted this, the Spirit Palace, protected by the chaos power, would probably be untouchable. Even strong cultivators who specialized in soul attacks would be helpless against it in the face of chaos power. The surface of the heavenly pool reflected Xiaoyan's body. However, Xiaoyan's body was almost transparent at this moment. Clearly, there were still some complicated matters to overcome in order to break through from the late stage of essence transformation to the half-step divine wanderer. The soul power within his body surged, but it quickly calmed down. Xiao slightly opened his eyes, and a dazzling light burst from within his body, heading toward the top of the heavenly pool. The terrifying fluctuations in space, like a destructive spatial storm, swept out. In an instant, the originally calm heavenly pool sky became covered with dense dark clouds. Inside the clouds, thunder rumbled, and countless fierce bolts of lightning began to dance. Divine Wanderer, do I still need to face a tribulation? Xiao scratched his head in confusion, then raised his head with a determined gaze. The spatial storm and thunderclouds that were brewing at the top of the sky descended together. The fluctuations within seemed specifically aimed at soul power. Whether it was the Divine Wanderer realm or the reincarnation stage, both stood at the peak of this world. To maintain order, the heavens naturally had to descend a thunder punishment. Boom! The spatial storm grew more violent, and with the dark clouds gathering, a pitch-black thunder serpent slithered across the sky. Its fierce gaze locked on Xiao. A wave of awe surged within his heart. Soul attack? Xiao body slowly rose, and countless mysterious fluctuations emanated from his spirit palace. The vast soul power swirled like an ocean, rising up. Come on! Clenching his fists, surrounded by glaze-colored flames and soul power, Xiaoyan's entire body shot into the air, aiming directly at the thunder serpent that was gathering in the sky. Chi. The thunder serpent flicked its tongue, its eyes filled with disdain and contempt. It then twisted its massive body, creating suffocating spatial storms and arcs of lightning, as if the grim reaper had arrived, swinging downward. Crack! Just as the thunder serpent descended with a towering posture, destroying everything in its path, the peaks of 16 mountains suddenly shimmered with bursts of yellow waves. At the same time, the entire world flickered with 16 beams of light, which spread and converged from the tops of the mountains, forming a mysterious yellow formation above the heavenly pool. Poof! The yellow formation blazed brightly, as if a true divine being had made its move, effortlessly dissipating the thunderclouds and spatial storms in the sky. Once this scene was dealt with, the heavenly pool returned to calm. However, in the cave behind the waterfall of the main peak, it seemed that some aura was slowly awakening. Whoosh whoosh. Xiao looked at this scene with some astonishment. Clearly, this so-called Jade Pool, Heavenly Pool, had extremely strict defenses. If it weren't for the help of Yao Ling, he probably wouldn't have been able to enter. Invisible soul power began to ripple. Though the 7th layer of the Spirit Palace was only half filled, it was already sufficient for Xiao. The soul power of half-step Divine Wanderer could already reflect most of the grand void heaven in his mind. This kind of ability could be considered a power that reached the heavens. Indeed, the Divine Wanderer realm is extraordinary. If I were to combine it with some soul-based fighting skills, with just my soul power, I would be able to stand undefeated even against true experts in the triple reincarnation stage. Xiao looked at the 16 mountains with a slightly happy expression but felt awe in his heart. If before, Xiaoyan's soul power at the late stage of essence transformation allowed him to be nearly invincible among those of the same level, then now, with his soul power in the Divine Wanderer realm, he had the ability to fight across realms. The difference between the two might seem slight, but the gap was worlds apart. Since that's the case, time to go. Xiao lowered his head slightly and then had a sudden thought. His immense soul power spread out like a tidal wave, reflecting the entire heavenly pool, even the whole Jade Pool Wonderland, in his mind. However, it seemed that the entire Jade Pool Wonderland wasn't enough for Xiao Yan's soul power to spread. His soul power continued to extend like an endless abyss, dispersing endlessly. Along the way, he subtly sensed a faint aura within the Jade Pool Wonderland. This aura, even the Grand Elder of the Fire Spirit Clan did not possess. It was likely the strongest presence in the Jade Pool Wonderland, the Jade Pool Holy Mother. The Soul Wanderer didn't stop. Slowly, it moved toward the space outside the Jade Pool, where the Penglai Wonderland and Grand Void Heaven could barely be reached. Crack! As Xiao Yan marveled at the vast and abundant upper three heavens in the center of the immortal realm, a hidden dark energy suddenly concealed itself somewhere in the void of the immortal realm. The intense burning sensation caused Xiao Yan's soul power to slightly tremble. What kind of power is this? Xiao Yan immediately sat cross-legged in the void, closing his eyes in deep concentration. He activated his vast soul power, quietly entering the dark rift, flowing into the unknown world. This is the immortal realm, a place praised as the Wonderland by the great Thousand Worlds. Why would there be such a strange and cunning evil aura here? Entering the dark rift, Xiao Yan saw a twisted, illusory, eerie space. Within it was a pure white light mouth, and beside it were the 10 eerie coffins Xiao Yan and the others had previously encountered in the spatial passage. However, it seemed that the light mouth was connected to some extremely mysterious world, while the 10 eerie coffins formed a very evil and complex formation, as if they were suppressing and imprisoning the light mouth. So, these 10 evil coffins are used to seal the entrance at the center of the immortal realm? If the center of the immortal realm is sealed, then doesn't that mean the upper three heavens, which reside under the protection of the immortal realm's center, are in danger? After a pause, with Xiao Yan's perception and experience, it was extremely easy for him to deduce what was happening before him. A chilling sense of dread spread in Xiao Yan's heart. The consequences of this were unimaginable. Is there an enemy? Before Xiao Yan could take any action, an immense surge of energy in the dark void suddenly hit Xiao Yan's soul orb, causing it to contract sharply. Xiao Yan then remained vigilant, observing his surroundings. Who is this, wielding soul power in the Divine Wanderer realm? The Jade Pool Holy Mother? The Moon God Palace Master? The Floral God Palace Master? A cold voice echoed, and then countless black shadows, like crows, scattered in all directions in the void. That aura was extremely evil, but Xiao Yan didn't feel unfamiliar with it. The source of this voice and energy was the complete opposite of the light demon he had encountered in the ghost realm. Suddenly, the eerie voice and the overwhelming soul attack caused Xiao Yan's soul power to twist the void in an instant. Boom, boom, boom. The soul power was fiercely attacked by some evil creature. A heavy dizziness struck, making Xiao Yan's soul power ripple violently. The soul power struggled against the strange force, but soon became weak and powerless, trying to escape through the rift in the void. The center of the immortal realm is the pinnacle of the entire immortal realm. Xiao Yan believed there were certainly strong beings at the five-fold reincarnation stage, and perhaps even at the six-fold reincarnation stage. How could these evil forces be suppressing the entrance to the immortal realm's center? What exactly are their intentions? Xiao Yan's reaction speed was incredibly fast, but even with his current soul power, when facing enemies attacking him, he still felt a sense of helplessness, as though his strength was as insignificant as an ant against the evil force. Despite this, Xiao Yan's sharp senses still detected something else. The shadow attacking him, though still not at the Divine Wanderer stage, was indeed a late-stage essence transformation expert. Moreover, the aura it gave off was something Xiao Yan was all too familiar with. The 10 eerie coffins used to seal the immortal realm entrance, and the strange figure above them all emanated a particularly strong aura of the extraterritorial evil clan. Although their identities couldn't be confirmed exactly, there were probably only two types of beings that could make Xiao Yan feel this troublesome. Either a red king-tier existence from the extraterritorial evil clan, or perhaps one of the rare evil god-tier entities. Buzz. Buzz. Despite Xiao Yan's half-step Divine Wanderer soul power, it was quickly pushed back by the strange force. In just a few breaths, it began to retreat rapidly, and if this continued, it would soon shatter completely. Run. After a brief moment of investigation, Xiao Yin didn't hesitate. Without looking back, he rushed toward the rift in the void to escape. Trying to ruin my plan? Not so easily. Evil God Seal, Curse of Darkness. Just as Xiao Yan's soul power retreated rapidly, the mysterious black figure roared. From within the shadow, a dark, complex crow suddenly flew out, silently embedding itself into Xiao Yan's escaping soul power. Now, let's see how you leak secrets. Hurry up. After completing this, the black figure let out a cold laugh. Together with the 10 eerie coffins, they released an overwhelmingly evil force to seal the faint light in front of them. As for what was happening inside the Immortal Realm Center, no one could tell. After a long time, everything returned to silence. On the other side, Xiao Yin let out a deep breath and sat cross-legged in the void of the heavenly pool, panting heavily. The strength of that person just now was absolutely beyond what Xiao Yin could handle. If he hadn't escaped quickly, there might have been a deadly battle. The seal in the heavens and earth was slightly disturbed, but with the protection of the heavenly pool, it quickly returned to calm. However, Xiao Yan's heart was still filled with fear. Even his soul power was violently pushed, and cold sweat and terror uncontrollably surged. Curse of Darkness, what is that? It seems I must leave here as soon as possible and tell the people of the Immortal Realm. Xiao Yin looked inside his body and found a crow perched inside his spirit palace. No matter how much he used his sacred flame or other powers, he couldn't destroy or expel it. It was quite puzzling. Tell the people of the Immortal Realm. Oh? Moments later, when Xiao Yin came back to his senses, he realized he couldn't even mention the hidden words. It seemed that this so-called Curse of Darkness didn't have any substantial destructive power because its only purpose was to prevent Xiao Yin from leaking any information. Right now, Xiao Yin was like someone who had been given a gag order. He couldn't touch any words related to those secrets. Even if he tried to guess or hint at them, it was impossible. Who are you? Why did you enter the forbidden land of the Jade Pool Wonderland? State your origins, or else. Just as Xiao Yin was puzzled by the Curse of Darkness, a graceful figure suddenly emerged from behind the main peak waterfall, and a jade sword made of moonstone pointed straight at Xiao Yin. The woman was dressed in a white gown, with a moon pattern intricately embroidered on it. Her 3,000 strands of hair swayed gently, looking incredibly alluring. However, there was a delicate ribbon hanging over her eyes, obscuring her gaze. The light in her eyes was completely white, as if she were blind. Discovered? Xiao Yan's face turned ashen. He didn't have time to think about the Curse of Darkness. All his focus shifted to the woman in front of him. Her aura was incredibly strange, mostly dominated by a luminous moon pattern, though faint. Still, Xiao Yin could detect a familiar aura from her. But with his mind occupied by the Curse of Darkness, he didn't take it seriously. The woman in front of him was only at the one-fold reincarnation stage, but even with his own two-fold reincarnation strength, Xiao Yin still felt significant pressure from her. And despite her eyes being covered, the hidden strength behind her blind gaze put immense pressure on Xiao Yin. Xiao Yin narrowed his eyes as streaks of glassy flames began to rise around him. Within the heavenly pool, as Xiao Yin started to channel the sacred flame's primal power, the intense heat caused thin wisps of steam to seep from the void of the heavens and earth. The once serene and ethereal heavenly pool, resembling a mortal paradise, began to distort and appear faintly unreal. A fire-attributed powerhouse, huh? Let me capture you and send you to the Jade Pool Wonderland to atone for your actions. Breaking into the forbidden grounds of the Jade Pool Wonderland is a death sentence in itself. The woman casually brushed aside the strands of black hair that fell across her forehead and slowly turned around. A powerful symbol at the center of her brow began to glow softly, emanating an ancient aura that seemed to daze the mind. Could it be? Is she serious? She's already using a divine artifact the moment she makes a move? As Xiao Yin looked at the moon pattern on the woman's brow, which gradually descended onto the jade sword on her arm, a subtle restlessness stirred within the god-slaying ruler inside him. Irritation spread through him, and at once, Xiao Yin realized that the moon pattern and the jade sword were, In fact, a divine artifact. The god-slaying ruler seemed to roar and growl in protest. As the second-ranked artifact of the human realm, its authority was not something that would easily tolerate the threats or doubts of a lower-ranked divine artifact. Under the moon, a duel. The woman raised her sword, the moon sword, and pointed at Xiao from afar. In an instant, the starry river descended, and the entire heavenly pool space vanished, replaced by a scene of pristine moonlit land. The pure moon hung in the sky, casting a reflection on the ground that resembled a mirror, showing the image of an angelic full moon. The eerie moon emitted a thin aura, which gradually flowed into the woman, holding the immortal sword before her. Her aura surged once more, and in an instant, she was on par with Xiao. At this moment, a deep sense of recognition surged in Xiao's eyes.